ForConstructionPros.com presents Construction News Tracker, brought to you by Caterpillar. The recent revelation of the congressional transportation bills have elicited considerable reaction from construction industry officials. For the most part, the proposals fall along party lines, leaving scarce maneuverability when it comes to actually deciding upon and enacting long-range spending. Meanwhile, the administration continues to move forward. The federal DOT has unveiled another round of Tiger grants. This is round 3 and valued at $527 million. The Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery, or Tiger, effort has previously expensed $2.1 billion into 126 projects nationwide. 100 idle road construction projects have resulted from the 2-week-old government shutdown in Minnesota. A $5 billion budget deficit that separates the political divide has also cost 22,000 state employees their jobs, and there are no talks slated to resolve the impasse. Caterpillar has completed its purchase of Bucyrus International following approval from the Chinese Commerce Ministry. Caterpillar itself financed the $8 billion deal and will headquarter its global mining headquarters at Oak Creek, Wisconsin. You're out working a job site and you'd like to communicate with co-workers at the other side of the project. Well, now you can. JobSite123.com has come up with Crew Blast, which is a mobile app that construction managers can use to send real-time text messages to crew members, keeping them up to date with changes and other information. Regular visitors to ForConstructionPros.com should know of polls that we take occasionally, and we like to share the results. The latest endeavor asked you to rate the capacity, safety, and ride quality of roads and bridges used in your local area. Your choices were from grades A to F. The results: 6% of you rated your area A, 14% B, 27% C, 42% D, and 11% F. Combine those last two scores and 53% of you are pretty disgusted with the net result. We're about to give you some real meat to chew on. There are now 3 emerging nations when it comes to spending money on its transportation network. That's right, Brazil, India, and China all lead the U.S. when it comes to funding their roadway needs. While the Congress debates spending issues, consider this. Between now and 2016, China will spend $1 trillion on highways, high-speed rail, and other infrastructure needs. Brazil will expend $900 billion on construction and energy projects, while India is set to spend $500 million on highway improvements alone. This report by the Urban Land Institute was put together by 2 former U.S. Transportation Secretaries, Samuel Skinner and Norman Mineta. Along with 80 experts, it's been determined that for America to compete with the rest of the world, it will have to spend $262 billion annually on rail, road, and air transportation, not to mention water and sewage systems, bridges, and other infrastructure that's deteriorating as we speak. If the future is to keep piecemealing our spending, then, as an example, we may see that blacktop surfaces are returned to gravel. Governments will reduce their water, trash, and other public services while the costs continue to skyrocket. Information revealed recently of the nation's economic forecast are confusing. The mid-year construction forecast by the Associated Builders and Contractors indicates continued sluggishness in the recovery. The ABC report puts construction in a difficult light, while another barometer from the generally reliable American Institute of Architects shows some recovery in the 4th quarter of this year into 2012, gaining steam in multifamily projects. Reports of an improving economy come from the Federal Reserve Beige Book and from FMI. That's the investment banker and consultant to the construction industry. A recent research project by Veronica DeGrugy at George Mason University indicates the federal government funds about 25% of the $160 billion spent annually on highways. She goes on to debunk 3 myths. Number 1, gas taxes cover all the cost of roads. What was true 50 years ago is no longer, as user fees cover only 50% of highway funds needed. Myth number 2 is that the federal gas tax covers the cost of all interstate highways. Again, not accurate, since 25% of gas taxes are diverted to cover the costs of bike paths, sidewalks, and scenic trails. And finally, there's myth number 3. Spending more on public transit projects will boost ridership. Ms. DeGrugy, in her Facts About Transportation Spending project, claims the amount spent on public transit jumped by 42% between 1989 and 1996, but the level of ridership fell by 11% over that same period. The administration's view is that the nation really needs a continued focus on infrastructure projects for the long haul. The Fed says its data show a modest rise in public sector projects, high-end commercial development, and the retail market. To quote the Fed Beige Book, districts expressed a general sense of optimism about the outlook for the second half of 2011, end quote. The FMI quarterly report likewise delivers a bit of sunshine, stating that municipal utility, conservation, and the power utility areas will contribute positive results. So we encourage you to read over these reports carefully and then judge for yourself. Construction is one of the few industries that actively supports and promotes its history. Based in Bowling Green, Ohio, the Historical Construction Equipment Association houses all sorts of industry artifacts, and many of them maintained in working condition. The association hosts an annual event, and this year, editor Larry Stewart attended the festivities at Penfield, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Larry Stewart with ForConstructionPros.com. I'm here with Larry Kutkowski at the Historical Construction Equipment Association's annual Heavy Equipment Expo. We're in Penfield, Illinois. Larry, the association's annual expo is associated with an anti-tractor show, right? A farm tractor show.
Yeah, we try to move the show around the country. At every 3 years, we have the show at Bowling Green, Ohio, which is where our headquarters and museum and archives storage facility is.
Right.
And but we try to move it around the country to different shows. A lot of times it's in conjunction with tractor shows like this one.
Sure, sure. I imagine there's a lot of crossover there, and the people that are interested in machinery. And
and a lot of the people in construction have come out of agriculture. Sure. Guys, it's just a subscription to a magazine. You know, and that's the cost you pay is the price you pay is worth that just for the magazine. But coming to the shows and seeing the equipment run, learning if they're doing any research projects, like students will go to our archives facility to get information on historic construction equipment. We have people that come just as spectators at our shows, and of course there's a lot more than just the iron. We have a banquet, and we have there'll be a room tonight where the guys will congregate and just talk about business. And we've made a lot of people have made business associates here at the show. We've become the recognized historian of the construction equipment industry, and of course the way for us to remain strong is with numbers.
Right. Okay.
And so we're always looking for more people to join the association. We put out a great magazine, and you meet great people from all around the country. And it's like-minded people, and it's been the best thing I've ever joined.
We wrap up this edition of News Tracker with these famous words: "The early bird gets the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets the cheese." For ConstructionPros.com produces Construction News Tracker for your benefit and information. You're invited to follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. Caterpillar presents our webcast as the streaming web from sea to shining sea never ends.